Hey, what's up guys? Today is Saturday, July 4th, so happy Independence Day to all our friends down south. The time is 12:22 p.m. and it's about 28 degrees Celsius. The plan for this ride is to head south down Avenue Road, and then I'll head on to Queen's Park and University Avenue, and I'll take that down to Front Street, and then I'll finish up down at the lake. So this is Bideford Avenue I'm just coming off right now. And this would be the start of Avenue Road. This is Highway 401, which I'm passing over right now. It's the primary corridor that runs east to west across the province of Ontario. It is North America's busiest highway, and in certain stretches, such as the one I'm going over right now, it's 16 lanes wide. So to the west on Highway 401 would be the Windsor-Detroit border, and you could take it to the east all the way to the province of Quebec. So this right here is Wilson Avenue I'm approaching. If you turn a right here and go straight, you'll find Wilson subway station. And if you turn left at Yonge Street, you'll find York Mills subway station. And then if you carry on through Yonge, it'll turn into York Mills Road. So coming up straight ahead is the main retail strip of this part of Avenue Road. It looks like they've dubbed this neighborhood Upper Avenue. At least that's what they've been writing on the street signs, although I've never actually heard anyone refer to it as that. It's primarily a low-rise neighborhood. There's not much in the way of apartments or condos. It's mostly single-family suburban-style houses. And there's not much in the way of transit. I believe there's a single bus that runs up here. That's one of my newest pet peeves in the city, people riding their bicycles on the sidewalk. It wasn't such a common occurrence before COVID. Whenever you saw someone doing that, you just kind of dismissed them as an idiot who didn't know what they were doing. But we were seeing it more and more often these days as more people are getting on bicycles. My other pet peeve from this whole situation has to be people who wear their masks underneath their nose. What's the point in covering up your mouth but not your nose? You're just creating waste, and you're not protecting yourself or anyone else. It's completely pointless. So just up here on the left is the Bedford Park neighborhood, which is one of the wealthiest in the city and probably the country. Again, it's mostly low-rise, single-family detached homes that are no doubt very high in property value. This neighborhood does have a bit of an exclusive feel to it, as people who don't live around here and don't have a car really don't have any need or reason to ever come up here. I only ever come up this way when I'm getting onto the 401 before driving up to Niagara Falls. It's also not the most cycling-friendly street. It's a bit of a gutsy jaywalk. Just drove by one of the new cannabis shops that sprung up over the city. We had so many ones that were operating in a legal gray zone for so long that it's getting hard to distinguish the legitimate ones from the not so legitimate ones these days, because they're absolutely everywhere. This A&W on the right is a common stop off on my way back home when I do visit my family in Niagara Falls. Just a pro tip, if you do go to A&W, definitely get on their mobile website and pull up their coupons. It's pretty crazy to think that anyone actually pays full price in there. So the main retail strip of the northern part of Avenue Road is starting to thin out. We'll continue on south down past Eglinton Avenue, and then we'll head through Upper Canada College, where Avenue Road abruptly ends, and then it resumes on the other side of the college. And then that will take us into the Yorkville and Annex neighborhoods. And then we'll be downtown once we're south of Bloor Street, and that's where Avenue Road comes to an end. So this is Lawrence Avenue West. Turn right here, which is to the west. There is Lawrence Avenue subway station, Lawrence Avenue West, and to the left, after about a 3 or 4 minute bike ride, you'll hit Yonge Street, and that's where Lawrence subway station will be. And from there, I think you can hop a bus to the airport. Although that can't be a particularly fast way to get there. So from here to about St. Clair Avenue West, this will be primarily a residential street. This fancy looking building on the left is an all-girls college. They do kindergarten to grade 12. It's called Havergal. If you're wondering, a year's tuition there is something in the neighborhood of 30 to 35,000, and with boarding, so that's living on campus, you can double that. So obviously it's quite an exclusive college, and straight ahead we'll eventually run into Upper Canada College, which is an all-boys private school. I'm not sure if this thing is a bike lane here or not, but I'll ride in it until it disappears. That's Glencairn Avenue. On the left is Lytton Park, and this is a very nice residential street. You can take that left over to Yonge Street, or you can turn right and take this over to the Forest Hill North neighborhood. It's a lot of the extremely nice homes. I was originally going to do a ride with my helmet camera set up today and not narrate it, but a friend who was going up north asked me if he could borrow that. So I switched to plan B and decided to cover this part of town as a narrated ride. It's not something I prepared for, but I had always wanted to cover that northern stretch of Avenue Road we went through. I just never thought it would be the most interesting of walking videos, so it's kind of hard to pull the trigger on that when there's always something more interesting to do. So it seemed like a good chance to take the bike out and go up that way. Inwards to the left is the Yonge and Eglinton neighborhood. When people often talk about Midtown Toronto, that's usually what they're referring to. But Midtown can also mean across St. Clair, typically from Yonge Street over to Bedford Street. This is Rosemont Avenue, so if I were going home, I could make a left here. Low-rise apartments in this area. Catholic Secondary School on the left. Marshall and McCoy. And coming up straight ahead should be Eglinton Avenue. And on the right will be the future home of Avenue Station, which is part of the Eglinton crosstown line they're building. It's essentially an underground LRT subway hybrid sort of setup. It will be above ground on the far east and west ends, but throughout the middle of the city it will be underground. I'm not turning right. Just hang back here. You can see they're working on the station right now. I believe the excavation is done for the upcoming LRT. Just a matter of finishing all the stations and interior work. I'm not sure why they had to blow up giant blocks of the city to build these stations. So this is Eglinton Avenue. When I lived in Seoul, they built several subway lines in the 5 years that I was there, and often a subway station pops up in a very busy neighborhood and it just sticks out of the sidewalk and all you have is a little underground entrance. You're able to do the entire things often without interrupting any of the buildings at street level. Yet here for this LRT line, they've been expropriating land and blowing up entire blocks just to build stations. So I'd be curious to know the reason for that. I'm no engineer though, so I'm sure it's a good one. A lot of businesses have been displaced. have suffered because of that construction. And this coronavirus certainly isn't helping. This is Chaplain Crescent. So if you turn left here, this will take you down to Davisville subway station on the Yonge part of line 1. A lot of vehicles will turn left here because Avenue Road, as I mentioned, does come to an end at Upper Canada College. So you can turn left here and then make a right on Oriole Parkway, and that'll conveniently loop you around Upper Canada College and spit you back out on Avenue Road. This here is the crossing of the Gardner Beltline Trail. It's an old railway line that they've turned into a fairly nice nature hike across the city. It's broken up into several sections. That's the Gardner part. You could have turned right there, or I could have turned right and taken the Gardner Beltline all the way over to Avenue Road. And if you go the other way, it'll take you through Mount Pleasant Cemetery and down into the Don Valley River area. So this straight ahead is Upper Canada College. So earlier we went by the main girls' private college in the area, and this would be for the boys. I'm actually gonna cut straight through. I could turn left here and take that to Oriole Parkway. This is open, so let's just pass through. This was built sometime in the 1800s. I think this is the second location they've had. And much like the girls' school we passed, tuition here is about 30,000 some odd Canadian dollars a year. And I believe with boarding it would be about the same, about double that. There's the football field. This would be the front entrance to the college. Pretty grand looking appearance. Maybe I can turn around just to get a look at that briefly. There it is with its grand clock tower. Not sure how well you can see that. It says no straight, no left. I guess I'll mosey on over where the pedestrians would go. I'm breaking some sort of law doing that. So if you're a police officer and want my address, just leave me your personal email address in the comments and I'll be sure not to share it. And I'll be happy to give you my info so you can give me a ticket. So just up ahead is St. Clair Avenue West, which does have a dedicated streetcar line going across it east to west. You can already see the population density of this area is picking up quite a bit. Just over to the right is the Forest Hill neighborhood, which is a pretty exclusive, affluent neighborhood. And coming up here on the left, I'll try to point the camera that way, is the Korean consulate. So back in 2007, when I applied for a visa to go live and work in Korea, I had to go there and have a meeting. It was a very strange experience. I met with a couple of Korean gentlemen who asked me why I wanted to go, and I kind of BS'd my way through that. Said some nice things about Korea and the culture. They're all true, of course, but what am I supposed to say? So over to the right is St. Clair West Station and the St. Clair Avenue West and Bathurst neighborhood, where I've lived briefly for a year. And to the left, as pointed out in the previous video, is Glenn Gould's old apartment, just a few blocks to the left, and then Yonge Street and St. Clair Station. Going back to Upper Canada College, growing up, that was always sort of the place where all the rich kids went. The other well-known school for that out on the west end in Oakville is Appleby College. And Appleby might even be a little more exclusive than Upper Canada College. I think their tuition is higher. There's Brown Public School on the right. It's more along the lines of where I would have gone if I were in this neighborhood. We've got a pretty nice downhill section coming up, so I think I'll just shut up and enjoy it. Come on! What the fuck? Wow. I did not give her the middle finger. Or him. Sorry to lose my cool. I try to keep my temper in check when I ride, but that was just ridiculous. On the left is Hare Krishna Church, or however you call it. Sorry if I offended anyone. And on the right is Church of the Messiah. Looks like an Anglican church. Where were those police a couple of minutes ago? And not to disparage our police friends, but they wouldn't have done anything anyways. This is Davenport Road. And on our left is the fairly exclusive Yorkville neighborhood. I recorded a walk yesterday that started through there. And on the right is the Annex neighborhood. That's Yorkville Village on the left. It's a shopping complex. It used to be known as the Hazelton Lanes. On the right is the Park Hyatt Hotel just up ahead. It's one of the older luxury hotels in the city. Just past Yorkville Avenue here. And my brakes have decided to make a lot more noise than normal. Probably a combination of the heat and the friction. And in the ground floor of that hotel is an excellent steakhouse called Morton's. There it is. The hotel is under a pretty extensive renovation right now. So this is Bloor Street West we're approaching. On the right will be the Royal Ontario Museum across the street. Just gonna grab a sip of water. Or not, I might not have time. So this is probably the most well-known east to west route across the city. It runs across the northern part of downtown. It's either Bloor Street or Queen Street West. We do get a bike lane here, which is nice. That's the museum on the right. On the left is the Gardner Museum. And this street is no longer called Avenue Road. It's now Queen's Park. There's Museum Subway Station right there. And straight ahead is Queen's Park itself, which is a bit of an urban park in the middle of the Crescent, with the provincial legislative building at the center. I've done a number of videos that have passed through here. Toronto is the capital of Ontario, so that's where all the members of provincial parliament convene and make the magic happen. The current leader of Toronto, the Premier, Beltford, isn't too popular in this neck of the woods. And then to the right is the St. George campus, part of the University of Toronto. And this is Hoskin Avenue, where if you turn right, this will turn into... Oh, that guy's not making... Oh, he is. I thought that was a illegal right turn there. This will take you through Harvard Village, and that'll run over to Ossington Avenue. There's the Queen's Park Legislative Building on the left. I think it's called the Legislative Assembly. Whenever there's protests going on in the province, this is often one of their favorite spots to do it. Usually government unions, when they decide to go on strike, will make their presence known here. And as unpopular as Doug Ford is, especially in the city of Toronto, he seems to have a vendetta against the city. He did run for mayor here. His brother, of course, being Rob Ford. There's a lot of police in Queen's Park right now. There's a protest going on the left. I think that's the anti-lockdown protest. The premier referred to as a bunch of yahoos. So here's where Queen's Park ends, and this is College Street. That's the Mars Discovery District over on the left, that nice old building. And becomes University Avenue. Which they might as well rename Hospital Avenue. Just up here on the left is Toronto General Hospital, and on the other side of that is the Sick Kids Hospital. And on the right is Princess Margaret Hospital, which is well known for their lottery-style draws every year. And just past that is Mount Sinai Hospital. And that Mars Discovery District is a technological hub that works closely with a lot of these hospitals, developing a lot of fintech-related stuff. I don't know what to call it. This is where Gerrard Street comes to an end. There's an emergency center on the right for the Toronto Rehab University Center. This is sort of a grand old avenue. Ironic that it's University Avenue, but to the north it's Avenue Road. To the right up here, just past Dundas Street, will be the United States Consulate. So maybe we'll give them a friendly wave as we go by, as it is their birthday today. There's the U.S. consulate there. The American flag flopping around. Toronto City Hall to the left. Really nice park and historical building called Osgood Hall, which goes back to the 1800s, functioning in part as a law school. And the next major street up ahead is Queen Street West, which is one of the more well-known shopping strips in the city. If you turn right and head westward, looks like we're catching the left, or catching the light, or not. On the left is the Four Seasons Center for the Performing Arts. If we go straight here, which we'll do, we'll be going through sort of the western edge of the financial district. Also just to the left is the Eaton Center and Old City Hall. They're popular landmarks. You can't see it, but on the right is the Hamlet. Have a walk sign, but no green light. So this is Richmond Street West, which is a one-way street, which runs to the west. You can turn right and take this through the old entertainment district. And next will be Adelaide Street, another one-way street that runs to the east. And you're not getting the downtown experience if you don't hear some sirens. Make sure the coast is clear. That cafe has a very busy patio going. Right now, only patios are open. So dining customers on the inside are not welcome. And this is St. Andrew Station, one of the major subway stations. It's connected to the path and serves the financial district. And this is King Street. And it's exactly 1 p.m. Not that you'll find that information useful. Lady here with those signs. When I worked in the financial district, I'd see her in front of St. Andrew Station every single day. Alright, I'm going to want to go straight on York Street because I'm heading towards the lake. I've packed a small snack and a very cold beverage. So I'm going to head down to the lake and have that, and then ride back home to Midtown. So this is Front Street, where University ends. That's Union Station straight ahead. No left or right turn, so it's straight only. Soon we'll be heading underneath the railroad tracks.
Oui.
There's an example of someone wearing their mask under their chin or under their nose. If you're just taking a break, just pull it right under your chin. Makes no sense to leave it over your mouth and make that part all dirty when your nose is still exposed, because you're not protecting anything. And you're outside. Put it on properly when you're inside. eyes are full of dust. It was so dark I couldn't see properly under there, so I always have to flip my sunglasses up just to put my eyes on the road so I can see. And that was a really dusty underpass. Whew. This is Bremner Boulevard. To the right, that'll take you to the Sky Dome where the Blue Jays play, at least when there's not a pandemic, and the CN Tower. And on the left is Rappers Way, and that'll take you to the old Air Canada Centre, now known as Scotiabank Arena, where the Raptors and Maple Leafs normally play. These are some of the tallest condos in the city straight ahead. On the right, the ICE condos, but it'd be more appropriate to call them Airbnbs. That's the Gardner Expressway that we'll be heading under. Straight ahead will be Lake Ontario. I am thinking of coming down here tomorrow with my camera and doing a walk along the waterfront. But we'll see. I often change my mind, or when I'm on my subway, or on the subway, it's not my subway, I'll completely change plans and do something other than what I intended. I'm going to go straight here. This is Queens Quay West. This whole part of the city is built on infield land. Front Street used to be sort of the front end of the city, and then the railway tracks were just south of that. Around the early 1900s, they started filling in all the land here to expand the city out southwards. And then they made the very unfortunate decision to block it off with these condos. So what could have been a spectacular waterfront area is merely mediocre, and the city has been trying to fix that mistake ever since. Still, we're quite fortunate to have it. It's just a little painful to know how great it could have been. There is ferry and water taxi service open to the Toronto Islands now. That's something that resumed with stage 2 of the grand reopening. Try to find a quiet spot to have my snack and my beverage. Say hi to some seagulls on the way. Hope I didn't scare them off. Pretty neat how every seagull seems to have its own spot. Trying to keep the camera pointed in their direction. Well, I'm gonna shut the camera off, so thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I'll catch you on the next one.